Let's take a close look at what will likely be a long legal battle at the ICJ. The key claims include the killing of Palestinians in large numbers, the enforcement of a blockade preventing Palestinian births, and the expulsion and displacement of people. Arguably the weightiest claim of all, that Israel failed to prevent and prosecute incitement of genocide that violates the 1948 Genocide Convention. Israeli officials say the claims are baseless, accusing South Africa of being criminally complicit in Hamas attacks on October the 7th. They'll be represented in court so that they can defend their nation's military response to what happened on that day. Hamas fighters killed some 1,300 people, mainly civilians, and took about 240 others hostage.
We will be there at the International Court of Justice and will present proudly our case of using self-defense under our most inherent right under international humanitarian law, where we are doing our utmost under extremely complicated circumstances on the ground to make sure that there will be no unintended consequences and no civilian casualties.
A ruling against Israel may hurt its international reputation and set a legal precedent. Experts say a decision in favor of South Africa and the Palestinians in Gaza could also put significant pressure on the United States. But why South Africa? Well, that stretches back to the early days of the African National Congress, or the ANC, a once-banned liberation movement that has historically sympathized with the plight of the Palestinians, having fought an armed struggle with South Africa's white apartheid regime. Both South Africa and Israel are signatories of the 1948 Genocide Convention. All states that have signed up to that treaty are obligated not to commit genocide and to prevent and punish that act. It was the first human rights treaty adopted by the UN General Assembly after World War II. The convention defines genocide as acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial or religious group. Under the Genocide Convention, the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ, is given the full mandate to hear such matters. It is the UN's highest legal body and the only international court that mediates general disputes between states. The International Criminal Court, or the ICC, on the other hand, prosecutes at the highest level individuals who are accused of war crimes. The ICJ is the second international court looking into the conflict. In November last year, the International Criminal Court confirmed it was looking into possible war crimes and crimes against humanity committed by both Israel and Hamas. The ICJ's rulings are binding, final, and without appeal. But there is no enforcement mechanism. If states do not comply, the UN Security Council has the authority to enforce the World Court's decisions. That said, ICJ orders may affect the global reputations of states involved. Its rulings have been ignored, in some cases with no serious consequences. There are two notable ICJ cases involving the Genocide Convention. Ukraine's 2022 petition 2 days after Russia's invasion. The court issued an order for Moscow to halt military operations. That case is still under deliberation. And the Gambia made an application against Myanmar in 2019 over atrocities against Rohingya people. The ICJ accepted the request for provisional measures and issued an order for Myanmar to end its acts. That case is also under deliberation.